What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I hope you like this video. This is going to be your review for Chasing Dallas, the reunion part 2. This ain't going to be long because I really just don't have a whole lot to say because this episode didn't really do a whole lot. I think that, let me go down my notes and then I'll just give y'all a commentary, okay? So my first note, it says late reunion cut short. So this is what I'm going to say about that. Reese, if you send out a call time, that's the call time. Whoever ain't the fuck there, it'll be like church. You just gotta wait till prayer over. So if they were supposed to start the reunion at 8:30 and you only had 3 cast members there at 8:30, then you roll with the 3 cast members. You tell Amani, okay, we're not gonna use cue card 1 and 2. Let's just go straight to card 3. If the only person there was you, Markel, and George, then talk about the issues that you, Markel, and George had. And then when y'all take a break to go to the bathroom or whatever y'all was going to do a commercial break, then you check the door and you see who on the outside of the door and you let them in. Y'all know how when you get to church and the ushers tell you can't come in right now because you late. You got to wait till a prayer over or you got to wait till they done doing whatever they got to do and you just got to wait outside. You just got to. With all the other late people until they let you in. There's no way in hell that if we supposed to have a call time at 8:30 and it's 10:30 and people still ain't there that we would. I wish I would. And whoever that woman was, the stylist, I forgot her name. No disrespect, I just didn't write it down. But I believe she was a stylist and she was telling you. Here's the thing. You have to emulate what you strive to be. If you strive to be a real production where people are getting paid and they're on salary and all of that, then that is what you have to emulate. And so with that being said, any other production, if you have a call time, you're there by that call time, or there's an issue. We have a problem. Houston, we have a problem. And so for me, there was a lot of stuff to blame Reese about, but that one can't be one of them. If y'all knew what time y'all was supposed to be there, and there were people there that were there on time, then that means everybody knew what time to be there on time. And Dior, there's no excuse of, well, I'm always late. That's not okay. Like, you can be always late, but that's not okay to say, well, I'm always late. I'm always late. I think sometimes when people are entrepreneurs and they're self-employed and they don't have to necessarily punch a clock, you get comfortable with not having to punch a clock. And Dior, because you are self-employed and because people are willing to deal with the fact that you are late or that you deal with that because you are so talented and you are in such high demand, I think that you might mistake that rolling over into your real life. Because there's been a couple of times when people have brought up your tardiness and your response is, well, I'm always late. But that's not okay. And whoever else was late, and I don't know, Dior might not even been the one late. I'm just using Dior because it came up again about him being late for stuff. So for that, no ma'am. All right, so the New Orleans trip. It seemed like the only beef with the... Now here's the fucked up thing about the New Orleans trip. And again, I put this on production. We sat there for 20 minutes. I might be exaggerating. But we sat there for 20 minutes talking about why George's friends was blurred out. But we ain't never talk about the alleged sexual assault that took place. We didn't talk about the fact that Trey Womack insinuated that George tried to come on to him in a sexual manner and it made him uncomfortable, feel some kind of way. Did I miss it? Maybe I missed it because I was kind of in and out. So they might have brought it up and I missed it. But they ain't talk about, if they did bring it up, they ain't talk about it half as long as we talked about the fact that George's friends was blurred out. Now, what it sounds like, I'm not going to get into all the minutiae of who sent an email or what, but I think the overall point that George was trying to make was the rules are unevenly implemented. That the rules are not even. When they want to follow a rule, they follow a rule. When they want to get a release, they get a release. And they didn't worry about getting a release from Carrie's friend or whatever the situation was. But when it came to his friends, and they needed a release. And so the conversation basically was, from what I understand, the beef was that it's just an uneven distribution of rules, I guess is the word I'm looking for. It's clear that there was that George and Reese just didn't click. It just ain't work. It just ain't click. It just wasn't real. Not real. It just wasn't there. Once again, we heard about the birthday party situation. Now here's the thing, and I'm out of order, but I'm just going as it come through my mind because the fuck. What it sounds to me like George was saying that, because Carrie said the same thing about certain scenes being filmed and certain scenes that weren't filmed, right? And Carrie also expressed this. I don't remember when. I don't know if he said it in an interview or just in general. I really don't remember. But the fact that sometimes people would show up, sometimes people wouldn't. And Carrie said how he basically ended up having to film a lot of the scenes that you saw him in, he filmed for himself. And come to find out, that scene that he did in Atlanta is going to be, that was filmed for the new season of Chasing Atlanta. George, we know about the birthday party that he sent people and nobody showed up. But I found it interesting that Reese said something. He said, because George was like, well, if you couldn't make it, that's why you have a team. Why didn't you send somebody else from your production team? And Reese made a very interesting comment. Reese said, well, they didn't want to come. Again, you emulate what you want to become. If you are working on a project, you are on a production on a project, you don't get to pick and choose. If I'm on a reality show and I'm telling you, listen, I'm having this event. We all know that on these reality shows, they have to have a certain number of events. Can you imagine if Candy Burrs was filming an event at the dungeon? I'm just using an example, y'all. And Bravo Andy and his crew said, yeah, we don't really feel like coming to that. Or if Bravo Andy got on the phone and said, hey, and I'm sure they have showrunners at this point, but I'm just using an example. Y'all can understand what I'm saying. If Bravo Andy called down to Atlanta and said, listen, Nene is throwing a cookout at her house. She wants it filmed for the show. This is gonna be her event. It's poodles and pedals. Shit, I don't know. Y'all know Nene be coming up with some crazy titles for her stuff. And if the production team in Atlanta called Bravo Andy back and said, we don't feel like going to that shit, how y'all think that would have worked out for the Atlanta people? So that's what I'm saying. Like George, like Reese, for you to sit up there and say, I couldn't make it and nobody wanted to go, again, that's not okay. That's just not okay. If you're running, and see, that's where people are saying you let your personal feelings interfere with business. You personally didn't fuck with George. And you ain't like George. And so you wasn't really pressed about doing nothing involving George. And so you allowed that to roll over into the production. That's where people are saying that you don't know how to separate your personal feelings from the production of the show. Now, here's the thing. See, let me go down my notes again. I said I wasn't going to be here long, but it's already 8 minutes. I ain't mean for it to be this long. Birthday party. George wasn't invited, but he came anyway. Then they got into the whole thing about, okay, carrier communication. Again, it sounds like that the biggest issue here is just communication and professionalism. They didn't bring up professionalism, but professionalism. Here's the issue. And Reese, out of the Justice League, I'm probably one of the nicest. When we have our private conversations, I be caping for you, Reese. I really do. But when you right, you right, and when you wrong, you wrong. Your professionalism is lacking, and you can come up with all the excuses you want. You can justify it all you want. Your professionalism is lacking. And why is your professionalism lacking, Reese? Because you have allowed your personal feelings to cloud your judgment. You ain't gotta like it. You ain't gotta agree with it. But it is what it is. It is what it is. George, Reese, I'm gonna get back to that comment because George, that was me about George being petty. George, I know you watching my review. I know you watch my reviews, and I know you watching this right now. George, I'm gonna get back to you and your petty shit in a minute. Hold on, you just hold right there. Carrie said something about he sent them a scene, and then Reese said it was lost, and Reese's response was, well, that happened so long ago. It was just down in my email. What? A cast member on the show took their time to film their own shit, and when they emailed it to you, you didn't immediately download it and put it into a folder so that you would have it for reference when it was time to piece together and edit that video together and edit that into that episode. That's professionalism. And for you to sit on there and say, and you act like it wasn't an issue, you was like, no, I would have been pissed off too, Reese, if I took my time to film my own shit because nobody thought it was important enough to show up to one of my events, and then your response was, I lost it. It was somewhere in my email. The fuck? So here's, George, did you have your own battery pack? Because I promise you, there were times when we couldn't even hear damn Amani talking. Her mic was in and out, but I promise you, every time George opened his mouth, we could hear that motherfucker crystal clear. George, did you bring your own goddamn battery pack to the damn reunion? Did you mic yourself up? I feel like you did. And if you say yes under this video, I'm going to die. Because somebody even asked me that under my last video. They were like, does George have his own mic pack? Because when I tell you we can hear you loud and clear, we can hear you better than Amani sometimes. Every time you spoke, even when somebody wasn't talking to you, we heard you loud and clear. I feel like George bought his own damn mic. And listen, the funniest shit of the night, the funniest comment that was made the whole night was when they was arguing, when Carrie, Reese, George, and them was arguing about professionalism and communication. Why George gonna say, sounds to me like somebody needs to be on a step 2 action plan. I said, this bitch. George, I laughed out loud. I was in my living room dying. Because only somebody who has worked in corporate America know what the fuck you talking about. A step 2 action plan? Listen, that's the shit we do to teachers when we trying to fire their asses. We put them on an action plan, okay? Listen, I died when he said that. He said, sounds like somebody needs to be put on a step 2 action plan. George, you make me sick. Anyway, that was the funniest shit. That was the funniest shit of the night. That absolutely was the funniest shit of the night. Then they brought Trey Howard back. He had a chance to calm down. He was upset. He calmed down. And Trey Howard was hurt. And I'm going to tell you, here's the thing, Trey. And Amani brought this up. I'm going to be honest with you, Trey. I think you got the best deal out of everybody this season. You and Carrie D got the best deal out of everybody this season. And Carrie D had to film his own scenes. You had 2 very successful events that everybody thought was great, that everybody raved about, that you got positive feedback on, whether from the show, people on the show, as well as the reviewers. Yeah. So even though now I didn't quite follow this whole thing with Carrie D's photo shoot and Reese G saying that he think Kane should do it over Trey doing it, and Trey got in his feelings about it. Again, I think that was a situation of professionalism, that you allow your personal feelings. I think that you was cool with Trey, you was beefing with Howard, and you recommended Kane over Howard. And then you tried to say, well, I apologize, you don't want to accept my apology. Well, you know, sometimes you gotta give people time to go get over shit. And then you brought back around when you were a stylist and you know how hard it is. Well, then if you know how hard it is, why would you undercut that man like that? That's a young man that's hustling. Why would you undercut him like that? You know, if you have 2 stylists on a show and somebody needs to be styled, let Carrie make that decision for himself. You didn't need to insert yourself. And I'm only going by what came up in the reunion and what I picked up, because y'all was arguing back and forth. I just didn't have the energy for it. But what it sounds like to me is you ain't need to get in that. Let Carrie D pick his own stylist and let Carrie D style. Hell, Carrie D might not want to use either one of their asses. Hell, Carrie D might just want to pull some shit out of his damn closet and kept it moving. I don't know. But that just sounds like a situation where you inserted yourself where it did not belong. Anyway, then we got into the whole thing about the gay house situation and whether Reese felt like he would be overstepping his bounds by doing too much with Trey Howard and the gay house situation. Listen. Whatever. I don't know. I don't know. Whatever. Reese said that he didn't want to overstep. Dior said he wouldn't have been overstepping. Dior also brought up the fact, and Dior brought this up when we interviewed him, and Dior also brought up the fact about, you know, they didn't want to film him doing hair until the news cameras was going to show up. Then all of a sudden they could bring a camera crew. But when he was just at his salon and he told them, I'm doing this and I'm doing that, nobody ever wanted to come and film him, even though that's what he's chasing. He wants to be, he said that in his introduction, that he wants to be the best, you know, hairstylist, you know, whatever. I think, Reese, you got away from your vision, because some comments were made about certain things didn't fall into people's storylines, and that's why you didn't film them doing work, because it didn't fall into their storyline. If the storyline is supposed to be what we're chasing, then how does something not fit into that person's storyline? Now, Reese's gonna say that's not what he said, and they're gonna say that's what he said, whatever. Listen, I told y'all last week I believe Dior. Y'all know why I believe Dior? Because Dior's story ain't changed. When we interviewed Dior, the same thing Dior said in that reunion, Dior said to us 2 months ago when we interviewed Dior. And so it is what it is, y'all. It is what it is. I ain't got no more. It is what it is. I think ultimately, then they talked about what they learned from the season and all that good stuff. Ultimately, I enjoy what it is that we're doing. I love to see, even with the stumbles, and I'm gonna say this to you, Reese, whether you're looking or not. I don't know if you're looking or not. Even with the stumbles and the falls, you're doing more than others are doing. You're doing it, whether you're making mistakes, whether you're doing it the way other people would want you to do it. You're doing it, and don't stop doing it. Right now you're in a place where you don't want to do a season 3. My 2 cents, when you ain't asked me for it, my 2 cents is you do a season 3 and you just be EP. I think you have enough people that you could build a cast where you don't have to be a main character. You can show up in scenes, you can be part of group scenes, but I don't think you need to be a part of I don't think you really need to be a part of the cast. I think you just need to focus on production. The production was a lot better this season. The scenes were a lot better this season. I think you need to just focus on production. That's my 2 cents. That's my opinion. Last but not least, I'm going to say this. I review shows because when I decided to do a YouTube channel and I chose to do shows, that's what I decided to do. I found the web series through Chasing Atlanta after I started doing videos, and my subscribers recommended Chasing Atlanta. From Chasing Atlanta, I found Chasing Dallas. So let me say this as a reviewer. I don't do this expecting anything. I don't. But when I feel like what I do is not appreciated is when I have a response. I think that when we're doing these smaller shows, these YouTube shows, and you get a group of people, a conglomerate like the Justice League, that not only is diligent in reviewing the show every week, but we've also interviewed, for the exception of Womack, we have interviewed every single member of this show, including Reese. And I don't expect nobody to kiss my ass, and I don't expect nobody to go out of my way. But I guess I hoped for more. And I'll just leave it at that. With that being said, hopefully we'll see a season 3. If not, I will see you guys for Chasing Atlanta. It is my understanding that we are filming for Chasing Atlanta. That's my hope. And I will see y'all later. Peace.